Thanks to those of you that submitted your questions for today's Q&A. If you're wondering and you're watching this, shortly after it's been uploaded, where the Night of Champions review is, where the Raw review is, Night of Champions review will be up Tuesday, Raw review Wednesday, some other videos throughout the course of the week, just so that way we clear up any confusion. So those reviews are coming. Just be patient. I'm taking my time, I guess you'd say. But let's get started with this Q&A and some good questions here. Let's start off with Jack Dunn 93. Where do you think the current building of Rusev will go, and how do you see it ending? I think it will continue to go until WrestleMania, at which point in time, unfortunately, it gets ended by Cena. Now, I just throw this out there as an alternative. You wonder, with it being a Cena feud, if Cena would actually get cheered relatively unanimously going against Rusev, and that might not be the worst thing for the Cena character. Um, but again, it would be short term and nothing long lasting would come out of it, especially if it's the same old Cena crap. See WrestleMania 30 with Wyatt, for example. But I wish they would go down a different path with him. I would assume after Mark Henry, to me, the next opponent should be somebody like The Big Show, because there's logic right there. And, then maybe you get to a point where you use Rusev's character at WrestleMania to launch a repackaged or returning babyface. And one that stands out to me is Ryback. Yeah, Ryback. Imagine if Rusev and Lana are there, WrestleMania 31, and they're talking about how he's undefeated and nobody could stop him. You've sent everybody his way, and he has smacked them down. And then out comes fucking Ryback, feed me more, and he comes down the ramp and fucking squashes Rusev. You talk about a WrestleMania moment and a way to right some of the previous wrongs with the Ryback character. There's a perfect opportunity to do that. Created a WrestleMania moment, launched repackaged babyface, and does it hurt Rusev? No, because sometimes, frankly, it's better for a heel to lose in that type of fashion. And I think based off of the way you're building up Rusev, the best way to do that might be with a babyface monster squashing him quickly, not named John Cena. Just a off the beaten path thing, but I think it's going to be eventually served up to Cena at Mania. Which it could work. It could work. I'm not going to totally crap on it, but you know how that's going to end. Dork Chops 1. Since Reigns is going to be out for several months, maybe past the Rumble, who do you think should win the Rumble now? I wonder, based off of some things, that they're going to maybe position John Cena as a backup plan to win the Rumble just in case. Oh, God. Some will point to Daniel Bryan, but that ain't happening. I just can't see that happening. I would envision that Reigns will be back by Rumble time. I really do. And at that point in time, I think he would still win the Rumble. Andy Booz, who in your opinion were some of the most predictable and unpredictable Royal Rumble winners? In terms of recent history, I would say Sheamus was unpredictable because a lot of people envisioned Jericho was going to do so. Randy Orton in 2009 was incredibly predictable, but that didn't necessarily make it bad. Cena winning it in 2013 was telegraphed, and that was bad. Taker in 2007 was not exactly, I think, totally predictable. 2008, once Cena returned, it became predictable who was winning the Rumble, but up to that point, you really didn't know. A lot of people probably thought Triple H was going to. Just thinking in terms of those. Batista winning the Rumble in 2014 was very predictable. 2005, maybe not, depending on your perspective. But those would be some recent examples. Let's see here. Sean McGlinchey. Does WWE really have any redeeming qualities left? I'm struggling to find any. I think it has some, but they're dwindling in my eyes. If you're a fan of good in-ring action, you're getting good in-ring action. If you don't care that much about this storytelling aspects or storylines or feuds or rivalries, then it has tons of redeeming qualities. Maybe the fact that there are some fresher faces and it's the hope that they will become stars and that you will get something different. Maybe that's a redeeming quality. Production values are still a redeeming quality, but I don't think they're as redeeming as they once were. Hard to find a lot of them, frankly. Matt Meffay, too, do you think the treatment of Bray Wyatt has gotten to a point where he needs to go back to NXT? Oh, no, 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 no. You send him back down to NXT, you might as well bring him back up as Husky Harris and then future endeavor his ass 3 months from now. Just saying. Dexter C73. Can the WWE afford to have a part-time champion? We're going to find out. Ultimately, that will be the determining factor because we're in that mode now. We are going to find out. We can sit there and say whether they can or can't. I tend to lean towards, based off of the way the company is based and structured, that they cannot. But we will find out long term whether or not they can have the luxury of having a part-time world champion. Carbon Mac, be honest, did you ever watch Glow? If so, what were your thoughts on it as a wrestling show? Back in the day, I did not watch Glow. No. Over the years, I have gone back and watched some Glow. And you know what? Some of the things that it did, it was a little ahead of its time. It was spectacle. It was definitely sports entertainment. And you almost, when you go back and watch it, you almost think sometimes that maybe a Vince McMahon was in charge of that, honestly. I mean, because you look at it and you see some things and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, it's got Vince's fingerprints all over it. Matthew _ Bizzle, why on earth do you hate Dino Bravo so much? Does this really need explanation? He's Dino Bravo. I don't know, man. I'm being honest with you. I don't know what more explanation I need to give you. If you want to take a peek at the ridiculousness that was Dino Bravo, go back with his whole bench press crap at Royal Rumble '88. That tells you all you need to know. And also, can you do your catchphrase "Ding Dong, Dumb Dicks"? Well, I guess I kind of did right there. So there you go. Real Ziggy 23. Oh, Matthew Bizzle. Yeah, again, maybe some of the people watching this can comment why Dino Bravo sucks so bad and why I hate him so much. Can clue you into the history. I've explained it before, I guess. I maybe just don't feel like explaining it right now. I'm sure that you guys watching will be more than happy to inform him as to why I dislike Dino Bravo so strongly. Real Ziggy 23. What's your thoughts on the feud that happened between Triple H and Ric Flair in 2005? I thought it was very good. At that time, I frankly thought it was one of the few redeeming qualities that the product had. I liked that feud tremendously. Trenton Pixton. If Vince McMahon retires and hands the company over to Triple H, what change would he bring to the company? I don't know. And the reason I said that is because if I'm going based off of the NXT model, a lot of the fans on the internet that love NXT, will want WWE to make Raw and SmackDown like that. And if they do, that is a total and complete disaster. NXT is designed to be a developmental territory with a focus on the in-ring aspects, which is going to tend to lend itself to being more liked by those that take the art form of the in-ring action more seriously. But you take that model and you apply it to the mainstream, I'll get the fuck out of here. People are going to fart all over it. It's going to be terrible. What change would he bring? I mean, hopefully it would also coincide with Kevin Dunn getting out of the way, which I think would be a godsend to that company. You got to keep in mind that people are looking at Triple H as God and being the savior of this company, but it means also that his wife's incredibly involved, and you've seen the fingerprints of what Stephanie's done from a creative process with this company over the past almost decade. That hasn't been good. So maybe with Triple H, you'll get a little bit more focus on the future, a little bit more focus on sticking with guys and, using NXT and Raw and SmackDown kind of in lockstep, that one is helping the other, and that you bring up these new characters for an NXT and you actually give them a chance to try and get over. And maybe there will be more patience. There could be some good things that come out of it, but, like I said, if I'm basing it off of NXT, it's kind of inconclusive. Rampager213, why are so many people afraid to admit that they watch pro wrestling today? Because maybe not as many people watch pro wrestling as they once did. Furthermore, frankly, looking at the product, sometimes I could see why, in theory, people would be embarrassed or ashamed to say they still watch this stuff. Personally, me, I don't have any problem. I don't give a damn who it is. They get out a conversation about pro wrestling. I have no problem telling people that I watch it. But I'm confident enough in who I am to not give a shit what other people think about what I watch and etc. Because I guarantee that a lot of those people that make fun of me for watching that fake, stupid pro wrestling consume massive quantities of even faker and even stupider reality television shows. Just saying. So, I'm the loser? I don't think so. I'm a loser for other reasons, not because of that. I think that's part of it too, is people kind of have that feeling that they're ashamed of it, that it's like a guilty pleasure, and they don't think that anybody else shares that common bond with them, which isn't the case at all. Bird Notice 3216, in your opinion, is Daniel Bryan an overall B plus superstar? The key word being superstar. Uh, Tread carefully, Jeff. Yeah, I wouldn't put my entire company behind him. I think he's a guy, but I don't think you could ever make him the guy. I just don't think it works. I just don't think he has that type of ability. But again, can he be a guy? Can he be a guy at the top? Absolutely. Especially if he's different from everybody else at the top. Oh, no question. I think he could be a big star still. But he's got to be able to be counted on to be there consistently, which means he has to be healthy, which is a huge concern, which knocks the grading down a little bit. And the fact that I think when you look at him, he doesn't necessarily appeal to everybody like some wrestling fans like to think. So yeah, I'd put him in the B plus category, but I don't do that necessarily as an insult. I frankly don't think there is an A plus or even an A player in today's WWE. I'm just being honest. Little Rabbit, should wrestlers get royalty checks from their network? Well, don't they kind of get royalty checks or payouts from the pay-per-views that appear on those networks? So I'm not really sure what you're getting at in terms of royalties based off of the subscriptions. Well, that's a part of what their pay is based off of once you get around the downside guarantees. So like I said, I'm not really sure what you were getting at with this question. Handsome Hallie, do you think the only way to get a change in John Cena's character is for the crowd to give him no reaction at all? No, that's so ridiculous, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're giving him no reaction at all, that means you still paid money to go to an event where he was featured. The WWE could sit there and use their propaganda pro Cena machine, which they do so skillfully or try to, and sit there and say, well, that the fans are in stunned silence or they're just amazed and they can't even formulate thoughts and words and reactions. And, they would pump in crowd noise on tape shows and they'd find ways to work around it. So you're still paying your money to get in. Why the fuck would that change anything in Cena's character? They're not changing it until it gets to the point where the bottom line is significantly affected and they have enough other guys at the top that could carry the mantle. They're not changing shit about Cena. Accept it. Deal with it. Rare Breed RKO 97. What do you think of Russo's recent comments regarding WWE's lack of effort in the creative process? Oh, he's spot on. I've talked about it in some reviews that, I just think their effort is lacking. I think their effort's been lacking for years. It has been. It just has been. A lack of creativity, a lack of originality, and frankly, a lack of effort. A Smith 906, Schleip Daddy, who had the better rap album? Macho Man, Randy Savage, or John Cena? Is this seriously a question? Only one of them had a diss rap telling Hulk Hogan to be a man, and it wasn't John Cena. So Macho Man Randy Savage, oh yeah, that's the better rap album. UF Gator Chomp 93, when Wade Barrett returns from injury in the near future, should WWE turn him face and have him win Money in the Bank? No, I get where you're going with that. But Wade Barrett's got to prove he could actually stay healthy for any consistent time. Because frankly, why would I put the fucking Money in the Bank briefcase on him just to have him sit there the next month and get injured and be out 6 months again? I'm not sure I would do much with Wade Barrett until he proved to me that he could stay healthy consistently. Sounds harsh, but it's the reality. And from a business standpoint, why would I invest a lot of effort into a guy that might be there for a little bit and then he's not fucking going to be there? And it's a shame, too, because they had something with Bad News Barrett, and now they have nothing. And then Mr. David Dye closes out this Q&A. with asking, how over as a heel today would Rick Rude be if he wrestled now instead of the 80s? Well, as a heel? Oh, not a bit. He'd be one of the top faces in the company, if you get what I'm saying. Oh, he would get no heel heat because he would entertain the breaks off of the adult fans and the more serious fans, so he'd get the wrong reaction. You'd eventually have to turn him babyface. Yeah, he'd be a terrible heel, and nothing to do with Rick Rude's skill sets or what he could do. But the simple fact of the matter is that the culture's changed, the times have changed. So talking about sweat hogs and shit would actually get a pop now, and that's the truth. So Rick Rude wouldn't be a heel; he'd be a babyface. I have no doubt in my mind about that. Thanks to all of you guys that submitted your questions for this. I look forward to coming back again Wednesday with another Q&A episode. Again, reminder, Night of Champions review this week is Tuesday, and then Wednesday will be the Raw review along with the next Q&A episode. See you later.